It's definitely a realistic, gritty take at Batman, which Nolan did in the Dark Knight trilogy. But yeah, it has the comic flavor, but also realistic. It blends those two very well.
This takes place like 10 years after the, economic crash, which was a very real thing. And, there was like the housing crisis and, what kind of domino effect that's had.
I believe you're going to make a real change for the people of Gotham.
You've got the Red Hood, which is this group of, people who are disgruntled and rightly so, who are kind of upset and maybe feel that like they've been given the short end of the stick too long.
But really, we just wanted a chance to get off the streets. And if the Red Hood isn't paying anymore, we can't afford the risk of being associated with it.
And I think that really relates to, I would say, modern America, who's upset. I think it's not unfair to say that there seems to be a lot of, anger and like volatile, stuff going on.
A big part of the subtext for The Best Medicine is this political frustration that people have, that a lot of people, we live in a time where a lot of people are angry at each other on both sides, and it's, you want people to just be able to talk to each other. And so a big part of The Best Medicine is how this passion and trying to make the world better, when that can be good, when that can be bad. And you see every character in the movie, even if they're on opposite sides, wants to do something to make the world better. There's pseudo-political motivation behind all the main characters. They address political issues about wanting to improve the city. They just have different ways of going about it.
Birmingham has a lot to offer. And I think Gotham, it's based off of like New York or, Philadelphia. And those cities are huge, but they're so huge you have some variety. And like, in Birmingham, you have a smaller area of downtown where you have, pretty tall buildings. And so you can kind of get that skyscraper feel. But you also have, old abandoned, factories and like, newer condos mixed in with like warehouses. And that's a fun look that I think suits Gotham very well. It's a challenge for sure, but I think we've worked really well with like the paints we've been given. And I think this is not a bad like place to do a short Batman film.
I felt like Gotham was more of a character than just a place. Like Joe really made sure Gotham was a living, breathing place, and like worn in, gritty, like, yeah, it was a character.
As far as Gotham goes, I think Birmingham is an interesting place to film because of history. You have a history of a huge divide between those who are well off and those who are absolutely not, and that's still there. You can still definitely see the effects of that in this city. And so I think that's a very, very interesting way that it parallels Gotham. You have those higher-ups, those politicians in Gotham who are controlling the people. But you also see there's progress, there's moving forward in a new direction. And I think as just a place to shoot in, it's a decently large city, and so it's got a lot of unique places to shoot. And so it offers a lot of opportunities to get all of your locations in one city, as opposed to having to travel lots of places.
I mean, aesthetically speaking, Birmingham is a city, just as Gotham is a city. And although we didn't show a lot of downtown in The Best Medicine, and scenes were filmed in more private locations, Birmingham is, I would say, more of a dirty city. Like a city like Singapore, I feel like is very clean,
Mm-hmm.
Or Dubai, very clean, whereas New York or Birmingham or Atlanta or Detroit are dirty looking. As far as history goes, Birmingham has a history of, prejudice and violence and themes that The Best Medicine addressed, especially at the beginning when Jack Napier is on the radio saying Gotham needs reform and needs to be bettered. And I think that can kind of relate to Birmingham's history, because there's a time where we needed to get better and kind of renew ourselves and rebirth the city of Birmingham.